Hello, this is Todd Shank from Premier FPL, coming to you with the Game Week 23 FPL tips. Starting out here, I do have my Game Week 22 through 25 fixtures ranking. I haven't had time to update it yet for Game Week 23, but it does include the 23 through 25 in there anyway. Couple of things is the Southampton set of fixtures here. They have Everton at home, Crystal Palace at home, Burnley away, and then they do also have Cardiff at home. So looking like some pretty good fixtures there for Southampton coming up. The other one is Manchester United. They do have Brighton at home, Burnley at home, and Leicester away. Also some good fixtures to look at targeting coming up there. In addition, you do have the Man City matches, Huddersfield away, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home. It's about the only tough one in there for them. And then Liverpool, Crystal Palace home, Leicester home, and then West Ham away. So yeah, this is the reason I have the fixtures ranking, just a good way to get an idea of what some of the tough fixtures are, let you plan ahead for the upcoming fixtures and see how things are going. Before I jump in here too much, just want to say, really appreciate any of the subscribers out there. But definitely appreciate anybody who subscribes to the channel. That really helps things to grow a lot quicker. So yeah, subscribe below, give a thumbs up for the video, comment, let me know what you're thinking each week, and really do appreciate that. All right, so for this week, I'm going to be taking a look at some of the value forwards, specifically targeting forwards for this week. Especially considering the huge news with Harry Kane out till March. So we have, well over a month, 2 months here without Harry Kane. That's kind of a big blow for me. I had picked him up thinking he was going to be, set starter till the end of the season. Didn't really think I would have to worry about him at all. But now, have that 12.5 sitting there that I'm going to have to drop him and bring somebody in. I am sticking with my plan to not take any hits for this season. So plan to just do a straight swap, Kane out for somebody in. And that's part of what I'll be exploring in today's video. All right, so one of the things that I'm looking at here are players who are 6.7 and below. 6.7 being that, let me go here to my threat, Zaha and below. Now I was thinking about some of these players here, but decided not to really recommend them. I have kind of a list. So some of the players that I was looking at, but I don't know that I'm really necessarily going to recommend them, are like Zaha at 6.7, Troy Deeney at 5.9, Chris Wood 6.2, Ashley Barnes 5.7, Joshua King is one. He actually might be one to look at picking up. He's at 6.3, and then Rondon at 5.7. The four that I'm thinking about targeting here are Raul Jimenez, and let me type them in here real quick. So Jimenez with go with Callum Wilson, this one, and I like to use this player comparison tool here that the Premier League has. I think it's a really nice tool. Danny, oh, yeah, did spell it right. Danny Ings is the next one, and then Alexander Mitrovic here for the last one. All right, so looking at them, the top scorer out of these four is actually Callum Wilson, who is also one of the top scorers as far as scores go. Third for forwards in the league. 5 assists is really nice for him. 21% shooting percentage is really great. I think that's actually top for all of these. Danny Ings is at 18%, while Mitrovic is at 10%, and Raul Jimenez is only 9%. Now that has to do with their shots and shots on target and how well their shots on target and their goals as well. So just kind of looking through some of these, Danny Ings has the fewest appearances, while the others, Jimenez and Mitrovic, both have 22 appearances. So looking pretty good for them as far as starting goes. The issues with Wilson and Ings here are that both of them are kind of questionable coming up. Ings is listed at 75%, while find here Callum Wilson is listed at 50% here on Premier injuries. So I would really love to really target Ings because of his fixtures coming up. If I knew he was starting, he would definitely be my top choice in here. With that said, the other two are Mitrovic and Raul Jimenez, with there being, Jimenez is 6.4 and Mitrovic is actually 6.6. He's kind of riding his early form a lot so far. The other thing that I was looking at is kind of the expected goals per game here. Mitrovic is right around his expected goals, which is interesting considering how many shots he takes. But 8.57 is his expected goals, and he scored 8. So that's really nice to see that in there. Callum Wilson, very similar, 9.4 is his expected goals, and then 9 is what he has scored. So both of them are good to see. Danny Ings very close as well, and then Raul Jimenez is also fairly close. So one of the other kind of underlying statistics to consider when looking at some of these players as well. Out of them, like I said, I would prefer to go with Danny Ings, but because of his recent injuries, I'm not sure that he would be the best one. Now, go over here, look at their upcoming fixtures. So fixture-wise, Jimenez has decent fixtures all the way up through game week 29 before they face Chelsea and then Arsenal. These are definitely matches that they have a chance in. They should definitely be scoring goals, and I think if they're scoring goals, he's going to be involved in it. He's been fairly sneaky as far as scoring goals this season and getting points. He's been rather consistent. This match against Man City is just kind of a wash. It's a team that they're not going to do well against. And Mitrovic is actually right behind him here in points for this season. The problem is he's playing for Fulham. They do have Brighton. That one could go either way. He's a player that could score at any minute, but really hasn't been scoring a whole lot recently. Only this one goal since game week 13. So not a whole lot of points that you're getting from Mitrovic compared to Jimenez, with Jimenez at 6.4 and Mitrovic is 6.6. I say it's kind of a toss-up. I have Jimenez. I would rather recommend Jimenez. But, honestly, I would rather recommend Ings because of his 5.5 tag, but because of his injury, that's up to you if you really want to go with him or not. The honorable mention here is Arnautovic, and he's at 6.9, but is also listed as 75% as far as playing goes. And there have been some rumors about whether he wants to stay or leave West Ham, try to look somewhere else, maybe try to get some European football. So yeah, that's kind of like the mid-tier budget-ish sort of forwards, taking a look at for them. The couple that I'm thinking about targeting, it's kind of a toss-up between Rashford and Aubameyang. Now, Aubameyang does have more points on the season, but Rashford had been playing under Mourinho for most of the season and recently has looked really good. United has great fixtures. Toughest one here is Liverpool, but otherwise great fixtures all the way up here through game week 29. And even in some of these tougher fixtures, you never know when he's going to be able to score. He's a very quick player. He's recently been on free kicks, so you have another chance for getting goals. He scored 3 goals, grabbed 2 assists in their last 3 matches. So he's definitely an in-form player. He's a quick player, guy that's going to get you goals. See if I can find, yeah. So 6.53 is his expected goals, and he's at 7 goals. So he's a little bit overperforming on his expected goals, but still, within that good range there. That at least it's not 1 or more over or under. So the other one is Aubameyang, and again, I think he's up here at the top as far as expected goals go, second in expected goals, and so yeah, he's slightly overperforming. It's getting kind of close there, almost 1 goal, but still, close enough that he is worth looking at. So those are kind of the two that I am considering as far as transfers go. Now, if I do Aubameyang, it doesn't leave me quite as much in the bank for looking ahead. Probably maybe dropping Fraser, mostly because, after West Ham, they do have a run of really tough fixtures other than this Cardiff match. So, yeah, we'll see. The other area to look at would be maybe dropping Schindler, picking up somebody a little bit more expensive up in my defensive area. Now, if I did decide to go with Rashford, that would give me a whole lot more to play around with. Could even give me enough that I could bring in somebody, Aguero or, Sterling, Sane in midfield. So yeah, it does free me up a little bit more if I would bring in Rashford. So just something to consider for your own team. Speaking of Aguero, I would say the whole situation with City is really difficult for fantasy players just because of how much they're rotating. You never know when it's going to be Aguero, when it's going to be Jesus. Is it going to be Sterling and Sane in one match together, or are they going to be swapping out for each other? I would say, if you have them, certainly don't be afraid to keep them. They're going to get points. There's no question about that. Sterling is here at 133. The difficulty is, I feel like if he was starting more, he would probably be up here above Salah. He has that kind of potential to be, scoring a whole lot more points than he does have. Now, he has been starting the last several matches, playing the full 90. Whether that means he's going to play the full 90 this weekend or get a rest, who knows? I thought that with Aguero being at home this past weekend, that he would be starting, but instead Jesus started, ended up with the goals. So again, you never know. Just never know. That's kind of the difficult thing. Part of why I did end up dropping Sterling and Sane is because I just never knew, and I don't like that personally. You have them in your team. Not advocating that you drop either of them. I think if you have them, you just have to realize that there's going to be rotation. There are going to be weeks where you don't get as many points as you could have, and you just kind of have to account for that by having other players that will come in and get you points. So I think that's where having those budget midfielders is a great thing. If you go back to my Gameweek 22 tips, that would be a great place to look at some of the players that I was tipping, guys that are at that mid 5 and below that will play matches that will get you points. So go back and watch my Gameweek 22 tips and see. I think they're still relevant. I think those are actually players that will probably be relevant for the rest of the season. So a great place that you can go back to for that. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm going to leave it for this week. I wanted to take a look here. Salah is going to be my captain since, they have Crystal Palace. I think that's a great place for him to get some points. Outside of that, I think I'm pretty happy with my team other than just needing to move Kane along. I was hoping to hold on to a transfer for this week and carry it forward, but that's not going to happen with Kane going down. The last place to look at, other than Kane being injured, the other big injury is for Trent Alexander-Arnold, currently listed as being ruled out with no return date. I haven't had a chance to look at news to see, what the actual prognosis is with that. So, yeah, that could be a tough one for a lot of people if you have both of them in your team, having to move them both out. So, anyway, yeah. Let your comments down below. Let me know if there's any players that you're targeting for this week, both as Kane replacements and for some of those mid-tier players. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that. It helps the channel grow quite a bit. Give me a thumbs up as well. And I think that's where I'll wrap it up. As always, wish you good luck and have fun.